2nd. What a day. I have had a day. Okay. I think that's better. Can't tell though. I think so. A lot of ups and downs, but let's start with I think my cycle is coming around. Clock that. And then I was like, damn, I thought about some other stuff, got irritated all over again. And I just like started reflecting on my situation, on where I am in life and like how I feel, and like feeling like, damn, if people really are like, how can I say it? I'm not trying to create no problems for nobody. I'm really not. But I'm in this weird point in my life where, like, when I look back, I noticed that, like, had I had better standards for myself, had I had better standards for being confident, for telling people, for correcting people, for not putting up with people treating me bad, and that's not a dig at nobody. That's just like, I feel like I've just grown and evolved now to this point where, like, those are the lessons that have paved the way to where I'm at now, where it's like, I don't treat myself like that no more. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I don't treat myself like that. I thrive in my isolation and being reclusive because I treat myself well. I like who I am. I think I'm kind of funny. I could sit up here and, watch a TV show, watch a movie, and like, I enjoy my own company. Ugh. And I think sometimes they say that imitation is a form of flattery, but that's not descriptive enough to describe. Like, I think there have been opportunities for people to economically take advantage of me. And like, I'm just moving forward on like, okay, instead of feeling bad about that, instead of feeling negative, I don't want to feel that way about myself. Actually, I could look at it glass half full, like, dang, I do have really good ideas. Dang, I do have really good creative, innovative value. Damn, like, I'm I help people to see things from a new like perspective, or I low key, I don't want to like, in the idea of what an influencer is, I don't have the following, but like, I'll be damned if people ain't trying to read the same books as me, watch the same documentaries as me, learn the same stuff I've learned, and like, I have a choice whether or not I can feel offended by that, or I could feel what's the opposite of that, like flattered. I don't know if I'm necessarily like, that's why I was saying imitation and flattery. I don't know if it's necessarily like flattered, but I think I'm somewhere in the middle where it's like, I'm not really upset, but I'm not like focused on like, oh wow, yeah, like, because a lot of things that I've learned, there's nothing new under the sun. So just because I talk about medical modalities, Black history, philosophy, science, quantum physics, damn nutrition, holistic health, uh, law, uh, you know, damn, what else? Anything. All the things that I have interest in. Like, that don't mean that, like, it's not, I'm learning like anybody else. Like, it is like, it takes a lot of mental effort to come up with a new innovation. It's not something you can just haphazardly do because you're building off of the foundations of those who have come before you. So, and the idea of like, even like grad school or doctorate, getting your doctorate, is basically like you acknowledge the people that have come before you, and then you bring, usually they're asking you to bring new ideas or concepts to whatever industry or whatever. You're forging the way forward, basically. That take a lot, you know, and in a respectful way. So that on my little last level, I just feel like anybody, like, I don't know, I don't feel flattered. I don't feel offended. I feel like knowledge is supposed to be benevolent, and somehow technology has made it, has weaponized it. Technology has like weaponized information. And I'm in my own personal think tank of like trying to figure out how to not get sucked into that, you know? Or even if you are sucked into it, how to overcome it and come out of the other side of it better, you know? Um, but yeah, that weaponized information shit is very real, and like is giving me a lot to think about on like how I want to be and who I want to be moving forward. Anyway, I started this video because it dawned on me as I was like low key kind of getting into like kind of a bad mood, where I was like, man, like I don't have nothing to say to nobody because don't nobody like, you know, like it feel like I can't move forward until somebody else gets their heyday to like just do whatever they need to do to like try to lower my self-esteem. That's the most superficial way that I could say it, but basically 9 times out of 10 it's some event that is trying to be proctored or made or whatever stage that really is just to rob me of this newfound confidence that I have. It ain't even about like actual physical material stuff. I feel like the more that I'm like, damn, that sucks. I'll take that L. I'll take that L. But like, I still want to talk about spirituality, or I still want to talk about resilience, or I still want to focus on positive things. Then it twists into like, well, she putting on a show. She being performative. She not talking about this, that, and the third. And it's like, no, I actually, how do I talk about negative things when in my mind it's like focusing my attention on negative things doesn't help me. It doesn't serve me. Focusing my attention on positive things actually helped me to get through negative experiences. And like I said, like you can come out of those negative experiences a better person, like a stronger person, a wiser person, a more emotionally regulated person, a better communicator, a more forgiving person, uh, just a better, well-rounded person, you know? I feel some type of way about like, I'm not trying to put, there's layers to like my other videos of like, I'm not trying to put nobody negatively on display. And also, like I said in the video, I'm not entirely sure that like nowadays I do feel like you don't know if you're actually talking to who you're supposed to be talking to. And I would feel insecure about that if this were like way back in the past. But now it's like there's cybercrime happening quite often every day. You can check the OWASP or whatever for the top 10 fucking cybercrime things, to where you look at that shit and then come back to me and be like, no, I'm not being delusional. You look at, like, I bought this, oh my God, stupid piece of hardware that I was trying to harden my system or whatever, and I got discouraged. But before I even plugged that shit in, I was doing my research on that and looking up the oh fuck, what's it called? The vulnerabilities. It's a vulnerabilities list. It's an acronym too, but anyway, the vulnerabilities on the hardware that I bought, and it was like, it's horrible for like apartments, but on Amazon the reviews will be like, this is great, this is wonderful, da 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 da. But then when you actually get into the tech specs, the function of the device is pretty much null and void to do what you need it to do, but you don't know that unless you look. Say all that to say, don't allow, and I'm saying this as somebody who's very green in cybersecurity anyway, like, I don't know everything about everything, but I've been kind of made to learn on the fly, really. Don't make an assumption or judge somebody by something they're describing if you are not aware of these things that exist outside of, like, unless you search for it, it's not coming up on your TikTok. It's not coming up on your Instagram. Unless you look in the industry, it's not going to be on your LinkedIn. Somebody's going to be writing about it or whatever, unless you work in IT or something. But the days of writing somebody off as being delusional or paranoid, I'm not saying that it's over with completely, but for damn sure, like, you can't jump to that and that's just it. And there's no, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just do that. So anyway, I say that do you want to, why every time? Please. Please. You can't just do that. Can't just be jumping to conclusions or whatever when there's a lot of cybercrime that's out there. So anyway, I was thinking to myself and I was like, damn, maybe I should take my own advice, because I'm sitting here telling myself that, like, I can't reach an audience, or I can't build a following, or I can't create content until this weird energy that I don't even know how to describe it, but like, I've convinced myself that there's a perfect moment for me to be able to start building my own personal brand as it pertains to people validating my authenticity, or me not being perceived as like performative, or me gaining public trust. Because low key, I feel like on the surface level, like, I had a TikTok with like thousands of followers and then I deleted it. And when I was younger, I was just like, whatever, I could just get another account. Now I feel like, damn, if there are like internet proctors or something like that and shit like that, like, I don't know that, like, maybe I feel like I shouldn't have like just disregarded all them people like that. But I had never had that many people interested in my life ever, like, ever. Not on Facebook, not ever. There was no situation. And TikTok was the first time where I was like, damn, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of influence, you know? Now I actually have something to say. And I caught myself in here venting, as I do, because it helps me, okay? It's some other people doing all types of stuff. I do have like a gestalt kind of thing that I do with my mirror that, like, it works for me. And as I was in here, like having that like self-soothing kind of thing, it dawned on me like, damn, you are complaining a lot and telling yourself that you can't create content or you can't connect with an audience. But is that true? Or are you just telling yourself that? What makes you think you can't make a video right now and just like start getting at what you need to get at, which was you can always heal. You can always choose how you want to respond to stuff. I'm not trying to get too deep into like my own personal Goliaths in life and the things, the challenges in my life that I've been made to believe are impeding my success and infringing upon my rights mentally and emotionally. Like irritating me. But that aside, I was frustrated and I was talking and I was just like, you know what? It's bothersome to me because the way that I've overcome these psychological setbacks, bro, over time, at first it was self-preservation and shit, but then it transformed into like, this shit is bigger than me. I think that's what irritates me the most. It's like somebody gatekeeping me and I don't know, trying to make me feel unworthy by like taking my ideas or making like, I don't know, like what real language to say, but just basically perceiving negative inferences online on a surface level is made to make anybody feel like they should second guess their confidence or their self-esteem or their self-worth or whatever. So at first, when I was like, dang, I'm noticing this type of stuff, but I'm finding my way through it, like bumbling and finding my way through it. It was about like self-preservation, right? But then it did become bigger than me. It became like, damn, what frustrates me the most now is like, what if there's other people that have really good ideas, that have really good, I don't know, like, that need to contribute to community or have new ways of like the education system is looking real crazy. Like, what if there's a teacher that has a really good idea, but she's being psychologically treated some type of way and she can't get her ideas out? Or what if there's some, you know, doctor in grad school that wants to do some cool new stuff with nanotechnology? I was reading up on that the other night. Like, I forgot about any. I'm gonna stay on track, but like, who's got some new ideas for nanotechnology? But like, there's this weird, you know, algorithm saying that, you know, this, that, and the third to discourage that person. What is going on? Why don't you stay up here? Or sit down, please, please. What if there's a new veterinarian? Like, Lord, because I have an old dog. Every time I talk on this phone, I'm starting to think like, is there 5G? Like something with the Wi-Fi, something with the gateway, the router or whatever? Because every time, I mean, dogs have heightened sense of smell, heightened sense of hearing. Who knows what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? What if there's a new veterinarian thing, but like there's so much outrage and contrarian shit and negativity and intimidation on the internet that people's ideas and innovations and collaborations, collaborative spirit, all that stuff is getting stifled, bro. It's getting stifled. And the world could probably be 10 steps ahead if we could get a handle on this shit. And maybe the way that I've gone through it, I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm the end all be all. I'm the life guru, fucking coach of whatever. I'm a dented can of beans, to be quite honest. I'm damaged goods. You know what I'm saying? I'm a work in progress. I'm always trying to improve. But I did get to a point when going through my own life struggles where I started to realize, like, damn, this shit is bigger than me. Me figuring out a way to get to stability isn't even about me getting to stability. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger than me. And I was thinking there's a lot of temptation to limit it to like racial. Because of course, you know, I'm black. So I do feel like on a lot of different fronts. I could talk for a long time about my black ass experience in my life and the things that I have, you know, gone through that I do feel like might be subjective to me because the first thing that people see is I have black skin. My hair is in locks. Like, whether you like me or not, whether black people even think I'm black enough or not, there's certain parts of town that if I walk on the sidewalk at night, the first thing that they're going to see is that I'm black, and that's it. So, a lot of what I've gone through, I've viewed it through the lens of, through different lenses, through the lens of racial, you know, my racial subjective experience, but then it went into like, well, I'm also a woman too, and I feel like there's a lot of patriarchal views of like reasoning, communication, emotional regulation, thinking on a more spiritual level, thinking on a more nurturing level, thinking on a more reasonable level. Not like, and I'm not saying that, you know, there's a lot of instances of women who are masculine in the sense that they go to war and shit. But I'm talking about more feminine energy being more in a nurturing type of vibe, right? Just for the contrarians out there, I recognize that exists, but that's not in context of what I'm talking about. I view some of my subjective experiences through the lens of like, damn, well, as a woman, I feel like things could be better this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. But I do feel like sometimes I get invalidated. Being a veteran that has a mental health diagnosis, I feel like, man, I've learned so much. I've learned so much that I could maybe make it better for another veteran or whatever, where I view my subjective experience through that lens. And after I look through those three lenses, that's a lot of time, but I do think a lot. It's a blessing and a curse. I'm very much like, you can say it's neurodivergent, whatever. There's a lot of labels or whatever. But anyway, after looking through life through those lenses and more, I began to realize that the shit is bigger than me. I began to see that, like, damn, every day that I survive, it's not so much about self-preservation anymore. There's bigger things that are only discovered upon you suffering greatly, and what you would say is quote unquote survival. Now, to somebody else, they might be looking and being like, bitch, you don't have no motion, you're broke, I'm plotting on your downfall, you don't even know it. The fuck you talking about survive? You ain't surviving. But to me, and probably to like other people that might be going through shit 10 times as worse, who even knows, like, that's what I'm talking about, where like I began to contemplate the wild, man, I don't want to say it's a paradox. I don't want to say it's a dichotomy. It's just like you're faced with like the choice of like, do I look at my situation where I'm at right now and still feel like I'm what other people are saying that I am, so therefore I'm not ready, or this isn't the time, or whatever, the conditions aren't perfect, aren't right, so I should stifle whatever expression that I want to put out there that is to help people get through their bad days, right? I should suppress my positivity or my encouragement for fear of somebody else being like, that bitch can't encourage nobody because I played that bitch yesterday. I played that bitch the day before yesterday. I'm playing that bitch tomorrow. So how you gonna help somebody and say this and that when I'm on the internet, I'm playing you left and right? That's an option. Or and this happened in real time, I just started thinking to myself, like, why am I telling myself that? Why can I not create content now that covers all of that, encourages people, and like that's just what it is? Because it is bigger than you. And as I was, like I said, I was having that gestalt moment where gestalt is like basically like you have an empty chair kind of thing where, fun fact, if you are going through shit, put a chair. You ain't even got to have a chair. It's like, I think the chair is just to make it clinical and like not, it validates it to where you're not, nobody's looking at you funny. But basically, you sit in the chair, there's a chair across, and whether it's, somebody that, whoever it is in your life where it might make you better to have a conversation, but you can't have a conversation, you just say what you need to say, right? But like I said, I kind of do that with the mirror. I have this mirror, and I kind of get out my emotions and stuff. I self-regulate, emotionally regulate by, taking it serious, but I speak to my mirror, you know what I'm saying? In a healthy way. I've already pretty much made my point of like, I value myself. I speak very kindly to myself. I uplift myself. But I have been believing, and I'm figuring this out in real time, that like other people are stifling my messaging, my transmission of like expressing good things that seem like, oh, this bitch just trying to da 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 da. But in reality, it's like, no, it's bigger than me. That's what frustrates me. I figured that out like last night, this night, whatever. Where it's like, I'm mostly frustrated because I feel like I'm being frozen in time to be hyper fixated on like shit that is not the end of my story. And I started to feel like, damn, it's probably a lot of people that feel that way. And then I started to feel like, well, if this is how I'm feeling and I don't have no control over it, I gotta wait until somebody else gets all their shit out before I can encourage another person. But what if me creating the content anyway on my own time instead of somebody else's has a ripple effect and an impact that like does make the world a better place? And you ain't gotta wait on tomorrow. You could make the world a better place today. You know? It was a deep revelation for me, if you can't tell. Because like all of these things are very important to me. And I do feel like sometimes when you suspect that you're being emotionally manipulated a lot, or that people are reducing you to, at this point, partly the way that I was able to get through shit is like I ran out of negative scenarios to like draw negative assumptions about myself. And that shit was a nightmare to go through. Cause it's not like it's a fun joyride of like, oh, what's the next negative assumption that I could, perceive? Like, but somehow it gave me a backbone. And like it did give me something meaningful to say to people. And it gave me a heart for like humility for people, because I think that this shit that we're going through with this internet shit is very fucking hard. And I think it do fuck with your emotions and your mental health. And I think if anybody goes through something, everybody's story should be valued. And just in my subjective experience, I don't want to be on somebody else's timeline or be in like emotionally held hostage. I'm emotionally held hostage when I have so much good shit to say that's like bigger than me. That's actually, that could benefit like people in a real way and help them get through whatever they might be going through. So that's what this is. That's what this I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like there's so many. My life is not perfect. And everybody that's in my life is not like worshiping the ground that I walk on. They may not even like me that much. But I just have such a drive and I feel compelled to like, when I live through these experiences and I do spend time alone, and then I'm like, man, like I do have these feelings of like, I do want to connect with community and stuff, but I got these standards now where it's non-negotiable. Like I can't just be tolerating people. I'm not going to ask somebody else for permission for me to be the best version of myself on their timeline or when they're ready for me to do that shit. Like I can't function like that. And it sounds easy said, but it took me a while to find the words to articulate. That's what it feels like. And it's not a good feeling to just be kind of, nobody's saying it, but it feels like you gotta wait for somebody else to be like, and now you can speak about enlightenment and spirituality. We have granted you the whatever to where like you can do that now. And you that's just a facade that I have somehow, like, I don't know, just maybe I'm in that. I'd like not to be, but on the off chance that I am, I'm getting up out of that. I'm not saying that it's happening with like in this one video, but for sure acknowledging it has got to be a big part of outgrowing it, you know. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. I'm not mad at anybody. I do be irritated, but I'm not mad. And I am a very forgiving person, but I feel like I'm taking my narrative back. I'm taking my identity back. I'm taking my narrative back. And like, I don't have to, because I thought about, boy, I did. It took me a while. I was like, man, maybe I should just make videos of all the, you know, with the same type of tone. And I sat with myself and I was like, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. I think instead of focusing on the past, I need to focus on the future. I need to create content that's stepping stones into me creating a reality that actually is an accurate reflection authentically of who I am. And so, yeah, the first step is like, bro, I don't think people should have to, of all the things that people should have to ask permission for, I don't think people should have to ask permission to just start authentically living more enlightened, encouraged lives. Like, and I do believe that my opinion on that isn't just on some, oh, I figured that out because I'm surviving spiritual warfare in my own life, like day in and day out. It's like bigger than me. There's somebody I probably don't even know that might need to hear that for them to make better decisions in their community. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the things that you say, if they're meaningful and encouraging and kind of in that type of zone, it ain't like, you know, I think that takes precedence that like people need to hear that shit. So anyway, this shit probably long as hell. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm Mavrik Morocco. I'm a regular person. And as reclusive as I may be, it dawned on me as I was sitting here that I was like, it was gestalt, man. It's crazy. It just dawned on me like, bro, how much of this are you not listening to your own, if you think that you got the answers like psychologically in this kind of way, then how come you're being held back when you have a phone, you have access to the internet, and regardless of it being, you know, this or that or whatever, why aren't you creating the content? Why are you believing that you can't create the content in this very moment? If you're so frustrated and feeling like somebody is hijacking your authenticity or your personality or what you're trying to, you know, what meaningful contributions you're trying to make in the world, if you know that that's like, I don't know, like that's not what that is, then why are you subscribing to that mentally? And I had to like that's the thing about me being by myself. It after a while I'm like, oh shit, okay, yeah. That don't make sense. I can't create good things right now in this very moment. So I'm living, I'm growing. And it ain't what it ain't. It is what it is and it ain't what it ain't. And I don't know, I do feel better. Not getting sucked into just like, shit is just bigger than me. And I need to start like allowing that thought and that idea to reveal a bigger world to me than this world that I've been made to like have blinders on and just only see the same things over and over. So prayer is good, but I do want, I'm figuring out what it means to have motion and to not have motion. I'm 36, so now people just be saying shit. I'm figuring it out. And I think I'm trying to take positive action in my own life without waiting on somebody else. So yeah.